I think the third record I did, Poetry of the Deed, certainly that was a difficult record for me in a way, and of all of the records I make, it's the one that I spend the most time thinking about and wondering if I made the right decisions about it. Not so much the songwriting, but just stuff kind of like the production, you know, and the arrangements and that kind of thing. But I'm not trying to be down about it, because there are some days I wake up in the morning and I'm like, yes, it's the best album. But there are other days where I wake up and think, because it kind of turned into a rock album, that record, you know? It's much less kind of acoustic and folky than any of the other ones that I've done. And yeah, I guess there are just days when I wonder whether I should have done that or whether it should have been more acoustic than it was. But yeah, I'm proud of it though, it's a good record. Well, I mean, I think the thing was, my old band I was in, Million Dead, broke up, and I just wanted to play kind of acoustic music, country or folk music or whatever, but then the thing is, because I didn't grow up in that scene, I don't know that scene very well, and I grew up with punk rock. Right. Everything that I do, if I try and play a country song, it sounds like a punk country song, because it's just kind of punk rock lives in my brain. So it wasn't so much like I was like, let's mix these two things together. It was I wanted to play folk music, and it came out sounding like punk rock folk music because I can't play any other way. But when I first told people I was going to play solo shows and with an acoustic guitar, I don't want to sound too defensive when I say this, but now it's kind of more of a thing that people do. They go from a punk band and they make an acoustic record. In 2005 there were a couple of people who did it, but not many, and certainly in the UK. And when I told my friends what I was doing, pretty much everybody just laughed and was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? And like, I distinctly remember a good friend of mine saying, call me back in 6 months when you're in a punk band again, man. Like, you're an idiot, kind of thing. And so I kind of feel quite good about still doing it now. It makes me feel like I knew what I was doing. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we actually have a lineup for the band. You know, it's going to be me on vocals. It's going to be Matt, who plays keys in my band now. He's going to play guitar, and it's going to be Ben, who was the drummer in Million Dead. He's going to play drums. So, and it's funny. People ask, is it going to be like Million Dead? And it's not. It's going to be much more violent and aggressive and brutal. Do you know, like Pig Destroyer, and Nails, and those kind of bands? I want to do a record like that, like one of those albums you put on and kind of go, fuck, like when it comes on, because it's too extreme. And like, I like the idea that in the UK there are people, in the UK especially, but anyway, but there are people who are into me because of folk music festivals and stuff like that. And that maybe they'd buy it and then be genuinely kind of upset by the record and just kind of cry a little bit because it was too horrible. Also, I don't know, I think a lot of people do side projects and it ends up sounding the same as their day job, you know, like Postal Service and Death Cab for Cutie is pretty close, you know, and stuff like that. And I like the idea of doing a side project that's really different, you know, and that surprises a lot of people. The problem with it is that it has to be like in spare time from what I'm doing now, and I don't have very much of that right now. But there's a week in January when I'm not doing anything, so we're going to go into the studio for a week and see what happens. I get tired, sure. Actually, I had a day off yesterday, so I'm feeling pretty good.
One day?
Yeah, you know, I just slept all day, it was great. No, I'm not bored. This is all I ever wanted to do, and I get to do it, and I'm in different places every day, and I meet new people, and to play a show, you know, where people sing along with their songs and everything is a privilege, and yeah, it's not boring for me. I kind of can't really imagine it ever being boring. I guess maybe one day, but right now it's just always awesome for me. So there's that, and then I don't know. I think the thing is, it's like sometimes people sort of say to me, "Oh, you know, you work really fucking hard. It's crazy, blah blah blah." But if you look at the number of shows I do in 1 year, and then you look at the number of days there are on Monday to Friday, you know, and weekdays in a year that you would do if you have an office job. It's kind of the same number, really. In fact, maybe a little bit less of the shows. So I enjoy what I do. I don't think that I deserve a special pat on the head for doing it. It just seems like I'm working the same as everybody else. Well, yes, although I always feel the need to then add, it is the best job in the world. Do you know what I mean? I'm not for a minute trying to say that I'm not really lucky and that I don't, you know, I do what I love for a living. That's an incredible privilege. But you know, I do. It's funny, a lot of people think that all I do is kind of spend an hour on stage and then get drunk. And it's kind of like, yeah, I wish, man. Fucking hell. You know, there's a lot of other stuff that I do, you know, and in my day, whether it's kind of accounting or emails or whatever, you know, press, whatever. Not that I'm minding this, but you know, it's just, it's you know, I work really hard. Like I say, I work really hard at something that I love, so I wouldn't ever complain about it. But yeah, it's definitely, this is my trade. To a degree, but I kind of like that in a way. Yeah, you know, I think that in this as in anything else, there's a part of me that's, I have pride in doing a job well, do you know what I mean? And like, I get up in the morning and I do all the things I need to do, and then hopefully in the evening we do a good show and everybody who paid money to come to the show has a good time, and then it's kind of like I feel proud that, you know, me and all of my crew and my band and everybody, we worked hard and it went well, you know, and we do that every day. Yeah. More people speak German here. No, you know, I can't really say this without it sounding like I say this to everybody and I'm just trying to kiss your ass because we're in Germany, but like, me and my band, we love Germany like a lot. Like, obviously, I mean, the UK is kind of different because it's where we're from, but outside of the UK, I'd say our favourite places to play are Germany and America. Like, and Germany's just great. One of the things I love about German audiences, German people generally, is they can do something, excuse me, that English people can't do, which is they can get drunk without fighting. Yeah. You know, in England, it's like if you have a bar full of people that's there from 7 PM until 11 PM, by the time it gets to 11, somebody's going to hit someone. Do you know what I mean? It's just part of the culture. Whereas Germans just seem to drink forever, and no one ever gets kind of in a bad mood. Everyone's just like, oh, it's nice to see you, and just kind of, yeah, it's kind of fun. The other thing I want to say about that though is that there are differences, but actually with the touring I've done now, I think that kind of if you like, I hate, this is a bad word, but it's the best time I can think of, kind of first world audiences are kind of the same, you know, America, Britain, Germany, whatever, it's not too dissimilar. Whereas if you go to like China or Israel or Poland and places like that, that's when things start getting a little weirder. And in a good way. Like, I mean, China was just fucking weird, but good weird, but weird. And then Israel was incredible. I spent a really long time wondering, trying to decide whether it was the right thing to do to go and play in Israel. And I decided it was, and I'm so glad that I did because it was such an incredible experience. And seriously, man, if you're a punk rock kid in Israel, you're an intense motherfucker anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not an easy place to be a punk kid. And yeah, those shows in Israel were fucking wild. And I really want to go back again. I just talked about something that had nothing to do with the question. Anyway. I've got like a few little German sentences I know, and they're all completely insane. So stuff like, I know how to say, ich schließe dich auf. And ich spiele die Dudelsack. Meine Großmutter ist geplatzt. You know, rufen Sie mir ein Taxi bitte. So it's just kind of all completely insane stuff. My guitar player Ben bought one of those like CDs of like learn a language sort of thing that you listen to, and we all had this plan that we just did 8 weeks on tour in America, and the idea was we were going to have it on in the bus every day, so we'd all like just, you know, breathe German language every day. But it never really happened. I think everyone kind of was too hungover on. Passiert Drophook. I need to write that down somewhere. Do you, can I'll write, okay. Well, how do you, best Drophook. Okay, Passiert Drophook. It really means how you, sure. Besser lekker major. Okay, besser lekker major. I think I'm going to stick with Passiert Drophook. You're that. Okay, I'm gonna, that's good, thank you. That's a good question. I thought you were about to ask me what was my favourite concert ever, which is always an impossible question because there's too many. In Cologne, okay, where have I played in Cologne? I played that place with Gaslight Anthem. The Underground, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, the solo show. And then we did a headline show somewhere else in Cologne as well. And annoyingly, I think, well actually no, you know what? The show that I did here with Gaslight Anthem was the first time I ever played a show in Germany, right? Oh. Because, you know, I mean I was on that tour with them and we came to Germany, so. I just remember that show because I remember being backstage just before I went on, and I genuinely had no idea how the show was going to be. And I was worried that like no one would understand my lyrics, and I was just playing solo, and I really was just kind of quite nervous, and I never usually get nervous, and I was just thinking, man, this might be a total disaster, you know, is anyone in Germany going to like me? And then basically everyone went crazy at that show, and then I remember being on the merch and I felt like I sold a CD to every single person in the room, you know, and it was just like, huh, Germany's cool. I need to come to Germany more often. So that's one of my favourite Köln shows. But so, well, you know, okay, let's talk about this, about the whole venue thing today. We were talking about this earlier. So originally it was Gloria, and then we moved to the Live Music Hall, and there was a bunch of people who was kind of pissed at me about that. Or, oh, you know, I don't like that venue, I don't like bigger venues. Well, we'll leave the second move, but I mean, I don't really know any venues in Cologne particularly, so it's kind of academic to me. And I understand that some venues are nicer than others and all the rest of it, but the thing for me is just that, you know, we sold all the tickets at Live Music Hall as well, and there's obviously people who want to come to the show. And I think that what people forget is that, you know, oh, I only want to see you playing small venues, and it's like, well, okay, so that means you want 90% of the people who want to see a show to not be able to see a show. It's just so elitist, you know what I mean? And like, and it's not like I don't keep touring and keep playing places, you know what I mean? It's not like I only come through once. It's like, and I get quite frustrated. I've just had this in the UK recently. We finished, it was the last show before here, it was on Sunday in London. Just did a big tour in the UK, and it was big venues, and there's predictably a bunch of people being like, oh, you know, I preferred it when I saw you in like a small bar in the Barfly or whatever, and it's like, yeah, but if I wanted to do that show now, I'd have to do like 100 nights at the Barfly to get all of these people to come to the show, you know, and then if I did 100 nights at the Barfly, then I wouldn't have time to tour properly in America or Germany or whatever. And actually, for me, it's important that I present what I do in a way where everyone who wants to see it can see it. You know, I don't want it to be this like little special club that some people are invited to. That's bullshit, you know, and I never wanted it to be that. So there's that, and then today, well, I mean, I don't know, I don't know this venue either, but I was on the train here today and then got a phone call saying, hey, the venue's moved again, don't get in the cab and go to Live Music Hall because there's no one there. So that's kind of frustrating. But again, like today I had a bunch of people, I announced it on like Facebook and shit, I had a bunch of people like emailing me and being like, oh, you know, that's bullshit, I don't like that venue. And it's like, okay, cool, we'll just cancel the show then. Like, what the fuck, dude? You know, would you rather have no show or a show? And at the end of the day, come to the show for the music, for the show, not for the fucking building. Right. Who gives a shit? Right. Anyway, end rant. That's a good question. I think that, I think that it's the most kind of, I hate the word because it sounds weird, but like developed record that I've done, you know? It's like, in theory, with practice, you get better at stuff, you know? And I've been writing songs for a little while now, and I just feel like I'm getting better at kind of saying the things I want to say and making the kind of noises I want to make, and I feel like, I also feel like this was, one of the great things about this record was that I felt like me and the band, the Sleeping Souls, really kind of found where to stand with each other. One of the things with Poetry the Deed, it was a little bit kind of like, oh fuck, okay, band on every song, and it was all a bit like everyone's kind of doing this and fighting to kind of make space, whereas this time around it was just like everyone was like, we're here, you're there, let's do this. And it just kind of felt like we played to the best of our ability, and we weren't like fighting each other in any way, do you know what I mean? I mean, it's not like we were literally fighting each other on the previous record, fuck you. But yeah, it just kind of felt like everything kind of came together a lot better with that. So one of the other thing to mention on this is that it's funny. It's funny because we're now, you know, in the last record, and there's a bunch of people who now assume that, right, that's you, he's like this guy who only sings songs about England. And it's kind of like, no, I wanted to make one record that was about England, I made that one, the next one's going to be about something totally different, so it's not like I've suddenly just turned into this guy who only writes songs about England, you know what I mean? So, anyway, end rant.
Okay.
Well, I'm older, people change when they get older. It would be depressing if they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I was an arsehole when I was 16, so, you know. You know, and I mean, I've travelled more ground, I've seen more of the world, and hopefully I've got better at songwriting. But, so, I don't know, stuff like that. I think one of the things, though, I had a conversation with a friend of mine not so long ago, and she said to me, this is somebody I knew for a very long time, I hadn't seen for a few years. And she said to me, you've changed. And I said, well, yeah, of course I've fucking changed. I've just done 1,000 fucking gigs in like 28 countries. You'd have to be a robot to do that and not change as a person or grow as a person. And so there's that. And the other thing as well is that I feel uncomfortable describing myself as an artist because it seems pretentious to me, but having said that, to the extent that I'm an artist, changing is the whole fucking point. Do you know what I mean? If you want a fucking band that's going to make the same song every day, then let me introduce you to AC/DC, have fun with that. You know, for me, you know, sometimes people go, oh, you know, you don't write songs like on your first record anymore, and it's like, yeah, that's because I wrote that record already, I did that, you know, now it's time to do something else. And it's not like I went around people's house and took away the first record and went, no, can't listen to this anymore. I'm sounding defensive again, but it's just, yeah, for me, I want to change, I want to keep changing, and I hope that I hope I'm still making music in 20 years, and if I am, I hope I'm making music that's different from what I'm making now. No, but actually somebody told me I had to try it, so okay, that's a deal. Yeah, actually, I have an English friend who has a German wife, and I email him all the time, and he was like, you have to drink Kirsch. So, I'm going to drink Kirsch tonight.